In this video, we talk about a game whose name I cannot pronounce. It is this one, and you're good at reading, so you can figure it out for yourself. This is the prototype of a second edition of the game, which I believe will be on Kickstarter soon or at some point. And I want to clarify, I don't get any compensation for my reviews based on Kickstarter prototypes. I just like to play games, and so when a publisher asks me for a video of this kind and the game seems interesting, I say yes. In this video, in this game, what you're gonna do, you're gonna farm and produce food, and your job is to feed towns around your area, and you commit to do so. The more town you feed, the more money you make, and that ultimately will lead you to victory. But if you overcommit promising food to towns and you can't deliver, then you will be penalized, and that's pretty bad. Players will use tiles of a specific color, so this will be my tiles. If I play with the red or orange, it's not entirely clear to me, but you only start with these two small tiles in your personal supply. The other ones go in the general supply, and we're gonna put them there. There you go. Then we have coins that we're gonna collect during the game. We have these tiles here representing the map. Each player receives one, and so at the beginning of the game, each player places their tile on the board, on the table, forming the play area. And suppose that this is, with 3 players, what the play area will look like. And again, I got my 2 personal little cute tiles there, and I'm very happy about them. Next up, each player receives a card of their color as a reminder of what their color is. And there's also another function that I found out to be very useful. You'll see what that is. Each player has a player aid reminding them what's what. And then we shuffle the cards. And we give out a hand of 6 to each player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There you go. These cards represent towns that we will try to feed. There is a symbol here representing the region they are from. It's very abstract. It's not then that there is a place matching that. Here it's how much food the town is requesting and how much money they're paying for it. So, for example, if when it's time to harvest, I have this card in my personal pile and I have at least 4 food points, then I can cash in. I can collect 7 coins. So the way it works, players will play one at a time, but there is an element of drafting similar to Sushi Go, but again, not a simultaneous one. When it is your turn, you must take one or 2 action. One action is you simply discard a card face down on the deck, so out of the game, but people don't have to see what it is that you discarded. And if you do so, you can collect a tile of your color from the general supply and place it into your personal supply. As simple as that. Or I can take a card from my hand and put it face down in my personal collection area. And by doing so, then I get to place a tile on the board wherever I want, in a way that makes sense. You have to follow the grid, don't hang out of the map, you can put it on top of other tiles, the way we usually place tiles in games. I recommend, if you do that, which is you store a card in your personal pile and you place a card on the board, that the card that you collected, you place it under your personal card. The one indicating the color. After you take your action, again, discard a card to collect a tile or store a card in your personal area to place a tile. After that, you put down your card, everybody takes their actions, and at that point, draft style, you pass the cards to the next player, and the player on the other side gives you their hand, and then you take a new action. Oh, I think I'm gonna store this card here to place this tile here, for example. and so on and so forth. And we continue until all cards have been used to collect tiles and or to place tiles. And so suppose that at the end of the round, when all the cards have been assigned, have been used one way or another, that's what it looks like. Remember that I recommended you place your cards that you store under your personal thing, because after a while it may be that this is the pile of cards that you have stored, and this is the hand of cards that you place there and you're waiting because you took your action waiting to give to the other player, and we have done it, that we hand out our store pile instead of the hand. So that it's very useful to separate that. I learned it the hard way, so you don't have to. Now, when all the actions are done, it's time to harvest to see how much food we produced. Each square that you covered with with your tiles, each square of the original grid is worth generates a food. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 just for that. Then there are bonuses. A line of 3 tiles in a row generates 2 extra food. So I have a 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. That's extra 4. A line of 4 in a row generates extra 3. Now the rulebook doesn't say that, but we have decided to count the squares multiple times. That it's allowed as many as you can. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That would work that way. And so I generate more food. It's a variant, I don't know, but I like it that way. Is it wrong? Possibly, but I like it that way. So I count how much food I have, and again, I check. At that point, after I count how many I have, I reveal the cards. I see if I have enough food to feed everybody, and if I do, I collect the corresponding amount of coins. If I don't have enough, then I have to discard cards corresponding to cities that I cannot feed, and that is the amount of money I actually lose from my personal supply. So that's why it's tricky to overcommit. You also get to score extra money. You get to score 2 extra coins if you fed 3 cities from the same region, which I'm not doing right now. But wait, I did. Booyah. So I collect 2 extra coins for that. Or you collect 2 extra coins if you fed 3 cities from 3 different regions, meaning with 3 different symbols. Also, if you're the player that has covered the largest area on the board, you get to collect 2 extra coins. And so at the end of the round, of round 1, the board maybe will look a little bit like this. And it's kind of important that I show you this. What happens in between rounds is quite cool. It's quite cool. Now, we have these tokens here. Once we harvested and collected points, we reset the board for the next round. The first thing that we do is we take these cubes and we place 1 in each square that has been neglected. Neglected fields just are harder to cultivate next season. I don't know if that's biologically accurate, but sure is what happens in this game. And so we place those like that. After that, we take all of the tiles from the previous round and we discard them all. They go back to the supply. To get them back, again, we need to discard cards to place those tiles from the general supply into our personal supply. And then we hand out a new hand of cards to everybody and we start playing. The rounds after the first are played exactly the first with this difference. In order to place a tile in an area that has one of these cubes, I need to spend 2 coins to remove the cube. So if I really wanted to place this tile here, I would need to spend 4 coins to remove those 2. Which means, of course, there's a lot of pressure starting from round 2 to place some big tiles right where it is freaking annoying for everybody else, so that then everybody else is stuck having to spend extra coins to be able to place those tiles. You continue like this until the end of the game, and at that point, the player with the highest total of coins wins the game. So, the unnameable game that starts with V. I found it entertaining, especially early on. I wasn't blown away by it, but I also wasn't horrified. Somewhere in there in between. Again, early on, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I enjoyed, of course, the balance that you have to create between how much you commit and how much you're actually able to deliver. Of course, we've seen that in many games in the last 15, 20 years. I mean, Ticket to Ride has really popularized that mechanic, and nothing wrong with this game coming up with a different way of implementing a similar idea. Having the spatial puzzle in which I'm trying, well, not just to cover a lot of spaces, but also to create those lines that will give you bonuses, and equally important, to block other people. This is a game that you see all of these people farming and looking so happy, but it's actually quite cutthroat from round one, but even more so later when you're trying not just to create your bonuses, but block the other people from getting those. Later on, I started enjoying the game a little bit less, I guess. It started feeling a little bit repetitive. There's an element of rinse and repeat from round to round. And the fact that from round two, you have those cubes for the neglected fields, I liked it very much. But by round four, that also felt a little bit repetitive. I think the game would really improve, would become a lot more interesting if we didn't just have something that is added in round two and repeated, but it maybe in round three and maybe even round four we had some other things that happen. May feel confusing, but it's 2021. We have a very strong community of people that play games as their main hobby. We have seen games that can do that. Maybe you add a different rule in 4 different rounds, and I think players can still take it. Even actually maybe a range of different things. Round two, these 2 things may happen. One of them. Round 3, so you can customize the game and choose which kind of different challenge happens every round. I just played Kitchen Rush a couple of months ago, which works in a similar way. You just add complexity, and the game is a lot more fresh and lively. So here the game feels a little bit repetitive after a while. Place a tile or collect a tile. I just wish there was something more. It feels a little bit bland that way. Also, another element is really that after a while you get the feeling, if that's not, I don't know if it's the truth, but the feeling that the game can be somewhat solved. That one thing that you will try to do, of course, is to, especially from round 2, to end the previous round with some good tiles, so that then early on you can place those annoying tiles to block the opponent. And so after a while, the players tend to settle in a flow that goes early on. I'm gonna place those tiles and use and try to collect good cities for that. And then later in the round, well, I don't want to place more tiles because I may not have them. When I place a tile, I'm committing to a city, so I may be committing too much. So you place tiles early on, and the last couple of turns you're just discarding of a round. You're just discarding cards to collect tiles from the following round. Are there better strategies? I don't know, but it looked like almost naturally we ended up doing that almost as a matter of course, which of course makes the second part of each round a little less epic, or you just know you're discarding cards and preparing for the next. It's just the flow that doesn't give you that like final. I mean, the end of the round should be to me more exciting than the beginning. Otherwise, it just feels anticlimactic, and that's the way it works at the end of basically each round. Because again, either you don't want to place new tiles or you don't have any, so you have to collect. So, the unnameable, at least by me, the unpronounceable game that starts with V. It's light, it's entertaining, it's just a little bit something, it's missing a certain je ne sais quoi to make it exciting, to give it that tingling down the spine. It has mechanics that are well known, true and tested in today's gaming. I just didn't feel that they came together in a way that was really engaging and really exciting for me.